Welcome back to the deep dive. Today is election day.
Good day.
It's a big day. And so we thought it'd be really fascinating to see how the crypto markets are reacting
Yeah.
to, everything that's going on.
Yeah, absolutely. There are some pretty wild market moves happening.
Yeah. And for this deep dive, we are using one single source. It's a crypto market report that was literally published earlier today.
Hot off the press.
Yes. So hot off the press, November 6th, 2024. And
Breaking news.
breaking news. Yeah. So the question we're going to be looking at today is how exactly is crypto tied to this election? And just to give you a little intrigue, we're not just talking about Bitcoin going up or down. We're going to be talking about things like meme coins,
Oh, yeah.
ETFs, even a little bit of Elon Musk in there. So
Sounds spicy.
it's going to be a good one. So let's dive in.
Let's do it.
So first, just to give everyone a little bit of an overview, this report is saying that the global crypto market cap is up over 7% in the past 24 hours, which is pretty huge.
It is.
And it's hitting a pretty massive $2.43 trillion.
Yeah.
So this is a big deal. And, we want to focus this deep dive on, people who are maybe retail investors or crypto enthusiasts, just so you can understand, how much of an impact something like a presidential election can have on the crypto market.
Absolutely. Yeah. The report suggests that the market is actually reacting really positively to the potential for a Donald Trump victory.
Interesting.
Yeah. His odds of winning have actually gone above 60% on platforms like Polymarket.
Okay. So the markets they're kind of anticipating that he's going to win.
A little bit.
But what does that mean for specific coins we know?
Right.
There's thousands of them out there. So
Yeah, well, I think the obvious place to start is Bitcoin. It's just hit an all-time high over $75,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's huge. So what's driving that surge?
So the report actually directly links it to the potential Trump victory.
Okay.
And it highlights his past stance on crypto as a major factor.
Okay.
And there's even mention of $94 million in short liquidations, meaning that people who bet against Bitcoin are losing big time.
Oh, man. Ouch.
Yeah.
So it sounds like there's a lot of optimism around Bitcoin right now, and that seems to be really tied to this election.
Yeah, there's a lot of speculation going on, for sure.
Yeah, but Bitcoin isn't the only coin that's seeing these gains, right?
Right.
What about Ethereum?
Yeah, so Ethereum is also performing really well. It's up over 8.5%, which is actually a bigger jump percentage-wise than Bitcoin.
Wow.
Yeah. Prices are above $2,600.
Okay, so is this part of that Trump trade too, or is something else going on with Ethereum?
Well, it's hard to say for certain, but the timing definitely suggests a connection to the election.
Yeah.
One thing to note, though, is that Ethereum's relative strength index, or as the cool kids call it, RSI, is quite high. It's over 77.
Okay, so for people who aren't familiar with RSI, can you give us a quick breakdown?
Yeah, so basically the RSI, it measures the magnitude of recent price changes to evaluate overbought or oversold conditions in the price of, well, really any asset. Could be a stock, could be crypto.
Right. So and we're talking about Ethereum in this case.
We're talking about Ethereum, and it means that while there's a really strong momentum right now, things could be getting a bit overheated.
Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe a little caution is warranted.
Yeah, a little bit.
Even amidst all this excitement.
Right.
Okay, so I'm sure our listeners are dying to hear about Dogecoin. The report says it's up a whopping 26%. What's going on with that?
Well, it's likely a combination of factors. The report points to a historical correlation between Dogecoin and news related to Trump.
Okay.
Yeah, there's also some speculation about Elon Musk and his platform X, formerly known as Twitter, potentially playing a role.
Oh, Elon.
Yeah, there are always rumors flying around about Elon and crypto. It's hard to know what to believe sometimes.
Yeah, for sure. But, okay, stepping back a bit, the report is calling this market reaction the Trump trade. It's not just crypto either. It's Trump Media and Technology Group stock is also up over 30%.
Exactly. So what we're seeing is a market that appears to be placing its bets on a specific outcome.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's not even just about Trump as a candidate. It's about the potential impact his policies could have on the economy, particularly when it comes to technology and crypto.
Okay, so you're saying that if Trump wins this, market rally could keep going.
Well, it's definitely a possibility, but it's important to remember that markets are incredibly unpredictable. There are always unforeseen events that can change things in the blink of an eye.
Right. And speaking of potential changes, the report also had some interesting things to say about Bitcoin ETFs.
Yeah, Bitcoin ETFs have actually seen some outflows recently, meaning that investors have been pulling their money out.
Okay.
However, there's an interesting twist to this. Those outflows decreased significantly on November 5th.
So maybe some pre-election jitters, but things are kind of calming down.
That's one interpretation. Another interesting point is that BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust, known as IBIT, actually saw inflows.
Huh.
Yeah, so this suggests that institutional investors, the big players, are remaining bullish on Bitcoin, even with all the election uncertainty.
So they're playing the long game.
Yeah, it seems that way.
Interesting.
They appear to have confidence in Bitcoin's future, regardless of who wins the election.
Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground here,
You have.
but one question keeps coming back to me.
Okay, shoot.
We've talked a lot about this Trump trade, but what happens to crypto if the election results are different and Trump doesn't win?
That is the million-dollar question, isn't it? And unfortunately, the report doesn't really offer a clear answer, but I think it does give us some clues. Yeah, what kind of clues?
Well, it's just that, markets are so heavily influenced by, expectations and sentiment. And right now the market seems to be, pricing in a Trump victory.
Yeah, it's factoring in his perceived crypto-friendly policies, his potential impact on, regulations, and even his ability to generate, hype and excitement around things.
Right. So if those expectations don't pan out, if the election goes a different way.
We could very well see a correction in the market. It's
Yeah.
hard to say how significant that correction would be.
Right. So there's still a lot of uncertainty.
Oh, absolutely.
And things could change really quickly depending on those results.
Absolutely. And even beyond the election, there are countless other factors at play that influence the crypto market.
Right.
Things like global economic conditions, technological advancements, regulatory changes. Plus, you always have to throw in there the unpredictable nature of, human psychology.
And fear and greed.
Exactly.
So even with all the data and analysis, crypto is still inherently risky.
That's right. It's
Yeah,
part of what makes it so exciting, but also what makes it so important to approach it with caution.
absolutely. Okay. So it sounds like our listeners need to be prepared for some potential volatility no matter who wins.
Yeah, that's a good takeaway for sure.
Okay. So back to this report. It mentions some interesting activity with Bitcoin ETFs.
Yes, specifically the fact that outflows from Bitcoin ETFs have decreased significantly recently.
Okay.
So it seems like the market might be stabilizing a little bit.
Why would that be happening?
Well, like we discussed earlier, those institutional investors are still showing confidence in Bitcoin. Even with the election looming, BlackRock's iShares, Bitcoin Trust is still seeing those inflows.
Yeah. So maybe those institutional investors are less concerned about short-term political fluctuations and are more focused on that long-term potential of Bitcoin.
Yeah, that's a very plausible theory. And, that long-term perspective might be something that our retail investors and crypto enthusiasts should consider as well.
That's a great point. It's so easy to get caught up in the day-to-day, market swings,
Yeah,
but sometimes it's important to zoom out and look at the bigger picture.
exactly. And speaking of the bigger picture, this report really highlights how crypto is becoming increasingly intertwined with global events. It's not just this, technological phenomenon anymore. It's a political, social, and global force.
That's a great observation.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the key takeaways from our deep dive today.
Mm-hmm.
So let's kind of recap what we've learned about this crypto market on this election day.
Okay, sounds good.
So first and foremost, the market is clearly reacting to the potential for a Trump victory. We saw Bitcoin hit an all-time high. We've got altcoins like Dogecoin also experiencing pretty significant gains.
Yeah, for sure.
And we also discussed how Ethereum is on the rise and even outpacing Bitcoin in terms of percentage growth. And while there are some signs of caution, like Ethereum's high RSI and some pre-election uncertainty around Bitcoin ETFs,
Right.
the overall sentiment seems to be one of, bullish optimism.
Yeah, especially with those institutional investors continuing to show confidence in Bitcoin through those ETF inflows. That's definitely a key takeaway.
Absolutely. Okay, so to wrap things up for our listeners today, what key advice would you give them considering what we've learned from this report?
I think the most important thing is to remember that, markets are inherently unpredictable. So don't let the hype of the election or any other event lead you to make rash decisions.
Right.
Do your own research,
Yeah.
understand your risk tolerance, and approach crypto with a balanced and informed perspective.
That's great advice. This report has given us a really fascinating snapshot of how the crypto market is responding to the election. But like you said, it's just one piece of the puzzle.
Exactly. There are so many other factors at play, and the situation is constantly evolving.
Yeah. So as we wrap up this deep dive into how this election is affecting the crypto market, I think it's safe to say that, it's a space worth watching,
Oh, absolutely.
especially for those retail investors and crypto enthusiasts out there.
Crypto is never boring, that's for sure. And today's report proves just how much it's becoming, intertwined with global events.
Totally. So for our listeners out there who want to stay ahead of the curve, what should they be paying attention to in these coming days and weeks?
Well, obviously, keeping an eye on those final election results and,
Mm.
how the markets react, that'll be key. But beyond that, I'd say pay attention to any announcements or policy proposals from both candidates, especially those related to technology and financial regulation.
Yeah, that's a great point. We've seen how much a single event like this election can impact the crypto market.
For sure.
Staying informed is really key for making, those smart investment decisions.
Definitely. And remember, this deep dive is just a starting point.
Right.
I encourage everyone to, continue exploring this connection between crypto and global events. It's a fascinating and rapidly evolving landscape.
It really is. Well, thanks again for joining us today, and thanks to all of our listeners for tuning in.
The pleasure was all mine.
And that's a wrap on our Election Day deep dive into the crypto markets.